Welcome again. This is Brother G coming to you with another video message, another video teaching. The topic we're gonna delve in today and see if we can unearth the truth is Christ divided according to the New Testament, according to our teacher, really our master too, which is Paul. Is Christ, according to the New Testament, is he divided? And there, from this study, another question arises. Did he divide others? This is powerful. This is a powerful topic we're going to get into today. Is Christ divided? Right away, I'm going to answer the question. No, obviously not. Christ is not divided. Even the devil is not divided. Hopefully, there of course there could be some infighting in both groups. But truly, Christ is not divided, nor the devil divided. Both desire people to grow their kingdom. You see, let me jump ahead of myself. You see, when you read in the Bible, which is prolificated, which is forced upon us, or given to us, even the Bible, in the beginning of it, it says, God said to multiply. This is a concept that all of us have grown to understand. But we think, even in the church, in the Christian realm or the Christian kingdom, that message is only for the church. That God said, be multiply and be fruitful. No, it's not. It's literally for everybody. Everybody instinctively know. Even the animals know instinctively, whether they know it consciously or unconsciously, that they must grow their kind. They must grow their species, whichever way you want to take it. And obviously, if you grow your kind or grow your species, you will be stronger by the sheer number, just by numbers. Just numbers, you are strong. Kinda. But by numbers, you are strong. I said kinda because if you are even greater in number, but you are dumb and you don't understand the devil's cunningness, if you don't understand what devices he used. Now, devices is not just the cell phone or the TV, but devices is books. The devices is words. The devices is phrase. The devices is rhetoric. The devices is anything, or you could say the method. You could use the method. He uses that. Also, interestingly enough, Christ and his prophets and his men uses the same tactics to a certain degree. So it's just a matter of which kingdom you really want to be in. Christ's kingdom or the devil's kingdom. Now, of course, I'm saying some crazy blasphemous things, but it's actually written in the book. I'm not just thinking of these things myself. They are what was forced upon us or given to us. So the question becomes, and we're going to get into some New Testament scriptures. And again, I am surely convinced that a lot of people don't read the Bible, the New Testament, or try to read it and understand what it is really. Is Christ divided? Did he divide others according to the New Testament, not according to my interpretation? What was given to us or forced upon us, whichever way. Is Christ divided? Did he divide others? We will read and be in awe at the answers we find in the New Testament. Stay tuned. 1 Corinthians 1 verse 13. It reads, is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Or were ye baptized in the name of Paul? So here Paul is asking, as he wrote to the Corinthians, was Christ divided? Because you see, they had infighting in Corinthians church according to the letter that was written, according to the Corinthian letters that was written. And we read it, and it was information given to Paul, even though Paul wasn't there physically. He heard secondhand or first hand, depending on what or you want to interpret that there was infighting in the church. They were divided. Some were saying they choose this one, they choose that one. And we know this today because this is prevalent amongst us even today. It's a matter of fact, it's even prevalent in families where children can prefer mother or prefer father, depending on who is better according to the things that the child want, something like that. So Paul here is saying to them, is Christ divided? No, learning some more words right here. I'm expanding my vocabulary. It says, when he asks this question, this is what they call a rhetorical question. And of course, the tacit or the implicit answer is, no, he's not. Because you are divided. He said, no, you're obviously. So Paul argument, one of Paul pillars, as they would say, or his argument for the Christian brethren was that you are divided and Christ is not divided. Why follow me? Well, okay. Paul is saying also, did I die for you? Should you like me more than you like Peter? But you see, the truth is, if a particular person who start a group, even though Paul is saying this and saying he didn't die for the Corinthian church, but he's the one that is teaching them. So he's really the representative of Christ. So really, as in another text or another letter, he said, follow me as I follow Christ. So in real retrospect, the people have to some degree choose between who are their leaders, because obviously Christ wasn't in the Corinthian church. You see, you got to break down these things. So Paul was a representative, Peter was a representative, and as we have known throughout history now and time, that there are some people who are just better leaders than others. And what it does, it make people choose between leader. This is obvious. So whether Paul wrote it and understood that in his time, we understand this. Truly, we understand it. However, the main point that I believe he was trying to convey to the Corinthian church was, you can't be divided because Christ is not divided. So we are answering one of our questions by the New Testament. And as we have already answered the question that Christ is not divided, neither is the devil's kingdom divided. Yes, there may be some infighting, but when it comes down to it, there is unity. Luke 11, verse 15. But some of them said, he casted out devils through Beelzebub, the chief of devils. Now this verse or this chapter will answer the second question that we have. So we are really answering them without any ambiguity and any, So some of them said he casted out devil. So here is the answer to the next question. Did Christ, or does Christ even from then divide others? And the answer is yes. Here he is. Here the text is saying he casted out devils through the Beelzebub. And if you read the whole text, or if you read the whole Testament, Jesus, according to the text, not interpretation, he was dividing the Beelzebub from the people. You see this with Peter. You see it with all the disciples. If that's the story they give us, or that's the story, then whatever they give forced upon us, you see it that he were dividing them from their previous belief. He was separating people from their previous belief and bringing them to another belief. Even John the Baptist, as they say, were doing the same thing. The Pharisees, the scribes, the Sadducees, all of them do the same thing. Everybody was seeking people for their kingdom. They were growing their kingdom. So basically, it clearly states right here, he casted out devils through Beelzebub. Now, I'm not agreeing that he casted out devils through Beelzebub, because he's going to reference and the text is going to clearly clarify that he couldn't be doing that because the kingdom would be divided. But what we want to answer here before we run along and to show you said this is what the text said, what was forced upon us are given to us subtility. If I don't know if that's a word. But anyways. So before we run along, we want to see who is this Beelzebub character. In churches, many people not teach about Beelzebub. But let's see what is this Beelzebub. Because the people, the Pharisees, the scribes, those people were accusing him that he's casting out these devils through the power of Beelzebub. So let's find out who is this Beelzebub before we run along with this. So the second question we did answer, does Christ separate others or divide others? The answer is yes, yes, yes. So who and what was this reference of Beelzebub or Baal-zebub as it is written? The last reference or the last word here that says Ball Zebub, Baal-zebub, and the one that says Beelzebub, it's obviously two different spelling, and this is what I came to understand. It becomes no more of a problem to me. You just look at the context. And as they say in school, what's that word they use? You look for, I forgot the term. Even basic school children learn this term. You look for context clues. You believe a big man like us are, some people in the church don't know this. However, I have learned that taking certain language from other language, especially bringing it to English, a lot of the translation, as they say, some of the transliteration is, as they would say in the Bible term, wanting, meaning it when they translate it or translate, it didn't bring over, or even the spelling wasn't clearly adaptable. May I learn words to the new term in English. So therefore we have different spelling. Even in England, compared to America, they have different spelling. They spell in England, we learn because we were colonized by England. We learned that liter, we spell liter the English way, like Litre or tire, Trye. In America, they spell liter as Liter and tire as Tire. So basically what I'm saying here, this New Testament, the first word Beelzebub is the same reference to Baal-zebub in the Old Testament. They are talking about the same thing. That's basically what we're saying. It's the same thing. Second Kings chapter 1 verse 16, we read about Baal-zebub. And truly, without reading it, I don't want to read it. Without reading it, Baal-zebub is really a dumb, inanimate idol that somebody, some king and some princes may have sanctioned for craftsmen to draw this dumb idol or whatever it is. Basically, Baal is a dumb, inanimate object that the people or the citizens of Ekron worship. Really, we see that in certain places still, certain countries still have dumb idols, meaning they can't speak, they can't talk, they can't walk, they can't move, they can't do anything, they don't speak. So obviously, I coined this phrase. Really, the idols are the ventriloquists behind the dumb, inanimate object. So the object is not speaking. The object doesn't have any thought. Even people still. So if you pray to the object is not responding. I don't know who is responding to you if you hear God speak. It might be just your belief, because the dumb object doesn't speak. So if you hear a word that is coming and you say, oh, I prayed to this, and you hear whatever, and it's your own thoughts that's speaking to you, your own memory, your own concept, your own belief. Those who you lift up high as idols, really men are idols. The only real people that in this version, I'm not talking donkey, is people who talk. People give the dumb inanimate object life. So Beelzebub was the god of Ekron. That's basically who is an inanimate object. So Beelzebub was the dumb idol of Ekron. So they are making this reference that Jesus is using Ekron's god authority and power to cast out devil. Now, we're not going to clarify how he was casting out devil, but let's keep on going. But he, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house that is divided against itself, and a house divided against itself falleth. So, in truth, Jesus here, in truth, in reality, not no implication to we, but basically he was saying, I'm unified. Jesus is saying, my kingdom is unified and it's coming up against Beelzebub, and we are separating the people them in Beelzebub. That's basically what he's saying. So is Christ divided? Of course not. His kingdom is not divided, nor the devil's kingdom is divided. But of course, the second question is, did he divide others? It's so obvious. He was dividing the kingdom of the devil. This is basic. So he's saying, so what he's preaching here, which the Pharisees describe the Sadducees and those creeps, no, they know also said no kingdom can be divided because it will come to desolation. No, that term desolation is very confusing. Our fallet is very confusing because we wasn't learned. We didn't understand because they hid the truth from us. And we're going to understand what desolation mean in this teaching and what fallet mean in this teaching. As I said before, when we look at Genesis, when it says, go out and multiply and replenish the earth, it was not just talking to the kingdom of Christians. It's basically, even the devil know this. See? All right, let me keep it on topic. Even the devil know this. Set them off a go around and seek or enlarge their kingdom. It seems like it's only certain Christians don't understand this concept, even now today. To multiply and be strong, you have to go out and seek others, and you have to multiply. If you don't multiply, you will become desolate, which simply mean barren, which simply mean you cannot produce, which simply mean you are it's obvious without saying it. Think not. That means I don't think it. Don't even think it. That I come to send peace. Don't think that I come with peace. Me not coming with peace. What the be? Oh, yo, out here. In the context of this, meaning he's coming with to separate. It's not peace and lovey-dovey. In this, it's just a concept because they were fighting. They were literal. The Pharisees described the Sadducees, the leaders, the governors, the priests. They were coming up against him. And obviously, he was coming up against their kingdom. So there was no peace. Obviously, there was no peace. He was coming to take, as we would sing, what the devil stole, okay, from God. So he's coming to take them just like how Moses was coming to take the people, them, whether it's a story of actual events or whatever it is, but it's basically the same thing. It's not peace. He said, I don't come to bring peace. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Division. He come but a sword, a division. All right, don't let me say it. Let's keep on reading. So think not that we come with peace, but with a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father. I even see that in my own life. And I actually see it with my son. Say, Christ come to make variance, a separation between a man and his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. What is this? What is going on here? Christ is dividing house. It's not me I say it. Look, it's the text saying it. And I'm going to say, by the understanding and the knowledge and the wisdom that I have possessed, no Christ is going to come in my house and separate my family because I don't hate my family. You see, as long as you have variance against your father or mother and you can't come together, Christ will divide you according to the text because you don't have one belief. So is Christ divided according to the question? Of course not. But does Christ divide others? We are reading it. He's dividing your household. I'm going to give you a clue how he's dividing the household. Even the Apostle Paul, our master teacher in the Corinthians, said, if a believer don't want to remain with the believing husband, vice versa, let them go. That's division. It's a law. If you can't agree, you have to be divided. You have to be divorced because you can't agree. There is variance. And this is what the text says. Is actually Christ killing a lot of people who think that they're worshiping Jesus Christ, but it's the very Christ, it's the very thoughts and the concept you have is dividing us. It's not me saying it. If you listen to this video, you could read the text for yourself. But I'm going to get some more into it with understanding. Here's the understanding. Leading and following the context. Christ, the Spirit of truth, is going to come to you. And we pray that within your household, that when the Spirit of truth comes and it is dividing the beliefs that we have incorporated ourselves into, the Spirit of truth will be dividing those beliefs and creating variance, because he's going to be coming by the Spirit of truth, which is the Christ, and he's going to be dividing that. So now those who believe the Pharisees, the scribes, the Sadducees, the leader, the priests, and Samaria, and believe those people and believe the flesh over the Spirit, then there's going to be a division. I'm not going to get too deep in it, but basically that's what he's saying. So you're going to find that in household, those that who believe in the Pharisees, the scribes, the Sadducees, the leaders, the people of the world, Samaria, Israel of old, and believe those things, they will be divided according to the word of variance and according to their God, which is an inanimate object like the Baal-zebub of Ekron. That's basically what he's saying. So when the Spirit of truth comes, and I believe it came to me, then we see the variance because it's without understanding. So it's not really peace. I know it's not. It's really a sword. It's really a division, because Beelzebub, the god of the Ekron, which is an inanimate object, which is their devices, which is the Pharisees, the scribes, the Sadducees, the leaders, the priests, Israel of old, their God is trying to maintain or contain their hegemony in the belief that they hold the gateway to God. And according to the text, Jesus is saying, no, him hold the gateway to God. So really and truly, that is the modern building up of this text from then to now. So he's saying the flesh is warring against the spirit, and indeed it is. There are people who are carnal that are divided from people who are spiritual, who understand the thing more. And basically that's it. The answer is there. It's not, I'm not even interpreting anything, just a little bit. But the answer is Christ's kingdom divided? Of course not. Is the devil's kingdom divided? Of course not. Does Christ divide the devil's kingdom? Of course, yes. Does the devil want to divide Christ's kingdom? Of course, yes. It's a war in not only the spirit, but also the flesh. And a man's foe shall be of the of his own also. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So what am I say right here, son? It's a belief. It's an idea. So when he was casting out the demons out of the people, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, there was already division between him and the Pharisees, the scribes, the leaders, the Sadducees, the Samaritans, and whatever, to a certain degree. There was a division there, and he was coming up against their kingdom and dividing their kingdom, dividing the people from the actual Beelzebub. So they were accusing him of Beelzebub, which is an inanimate object which had no power, which was the Ekron's god. They were calling that he was using that power and authority, which they knew better. That really is not the inanimate object that has power and authority, is really the government of Ekron. It's really the government of Ekron and their force and their military might that gives Ekron its power for the people to worship. So basically, that's what the Pharisees and scribes and the leaders of his time were saying, that he was coming in the authority of the Ekronites. That's really what they were saying. He was invading their city by the power of Ekronites. But they know better. Said the inanimate object don't have any power, really. It's the government's beliefs and the people's them belief that they place on the inanimate objects. Is really the ventriloquist behind the dummies, is really the idol. Those are those who have the voice and the ideas and the concept. So obviously when Jesus come up on the Pharisees' kingdom, he's dividing their kingdom. That's basically, this is a war. He's dividing their kingdom. He's separating them from blindness. He's separating demon of blindness. He's separating demon of muteness. He's separating all these demons. So he's coming upon their kingdom and saying their kingdom won't prevail. And so this causes variance, because in our household where everybody have varying beliefs, if they believe in sorcery and witchcraft and these things, and then the spirit of truth comes, obviously you're going to have war inside of your physical, relatively, house, because you have different beliefs, and that can expand to community, society, and nations at large. Let's look what the following verse says. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divide his sheep from the goat. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goat on his left. I don't have to read no more. So basically the answer is Christ divided? No, he's not. Is the devil's kingdom divided? No, it's not. Does Christ want to divide the devil's kingdom? Yes, he is. Does the devil wants to divide Christ's kingdom? Yes, he is. But if we look at this and we look at the context, who is really dividing you according to the context of this? This is saying, when all nation is gathered before him, how will all nation gathered before Christ or this belief? Christ is not a physical man. No, it's a spirit. How will all nation be gathered before him? Who will be the kings of all nation, as was written in the Old Testament? Who are the kings of? Are we seeing it today in modern time? Who is dividing people? This is what it says. It says, he's gathering on and he shall separate them. Now, here's the problem. Who are the sheep and who are the goat? It is obvious to me, and I'm being a little bit tacit here. The sheep on the right hand are leaders. The sheep on the right hand, even in the context of this, are obviously leaders, and most of the world is right-handed, so right-handed mean power and authority. So who are the sheep? Who are in power and in authority? Who's running the world as we see it? Who? I mean, are our eyes blind? without understanding? Who is the sheep? And obviously, the goats are the ones that are not leading. The goats are separated from the sheep. So, in this regard, the sheep are the rulers. The sheep have the power and the authority. And Christ is dividing the world according to the text. We were divided. I'm still trying to hold my own family together because we are divided. Is Christ dividing me or is the devil dividing me? You choose. But if you look at the text, I'm 100 almost conclude with some little wiggle room. According to the text, which was forced upon us or given to us, it's the very text that is dividing us. Because there are seemingly differences in the text without we can really admit it, because we try to reconcile everything to the text even if it come against our conscience. But it's really the text. Really the text is giving us variance. It really is. That's why you have so many churches. Who's that dividing us, dividing the churches? Men or the text? Well, I seem to answer the question very plainly. Is Christ divided? And the answer is unequivocally. Is that the word? No. Then I could go on to say, is the devil divided? And I could say unequivocally no. There is some in arguing and in fighting. What it means to come to desolation, it just means barrenness. You cannot produce, or you're just going around in circles or trying to produce the same thing over and over, and people are realizing it and they're seeking for other means of even enjoyment or even other ways of growing. That's what desolation, what it means by falling. We see many fall, but we are not preaching it. And I'm going to be tacit here because the devil is on the prowl. He's looking for those who are starting to understand and to cut them off. So I'm just going to be tacit here and say we have seen evidence of lots of fall. We have seen evidence